little scouting report on Marjon Beauchamp. Don't put any flair to it. Just
Marjon Beauchamp.
I made something
Marjon Beauchamp.
Beauchamp. It sounds really great. But it does sound like you have to say it with Brad Pitt's accent. Marjon Beauchamp.
I'll be saying Marjon Beauchamp.
Italian.
Marjon Beauchamp.
All right, Harrison. And Allie, you can go ahead and bring up that card now. Go ahead. Let's walk us through here. Here's our guy, Marjon Beauchamp.
Marjon Beauchamp is a 21-year-old guy from the G League Ignite. He had a winding path to get to the G League Ignite. Let me just go over this really quickly. 4 high schools in 4 years.
Whoa.
Guys, he was actually Michael Porter Jr.'s high school teammate during his freshman year. MPJ was a senior at Nathan Hale in Washington.
Sign me up.
Beauchamp was a freshman.
Awesome.
Then he followed his coach, Brandon Roy, to another high school in Seattle his sophomore year. Then he transferred to another high school, had to sit out a year. Then he played there. Then he transferred to a school in Arizona for his senior year, was a 4-star recruit, had a big choice of colleges to go to. COVID hit, went to JUCO close to home, then went to the G League last season. He is 6'6.5" in shoes. He's got a huge 7'1" wingspan, 8'10" standing reach. That's the same standing reach as Dalen Terry, who we talked about on Wednesday's show had. 197 pounds. He's got the same type of body as Derek Jones Jr. So a really long, athletic, small forward who played for the G League Ignite last year.
That's crazy. That's awesome. And the G League Ignite, by the way, is kind of not too dissimilar from Jokic's Adriatic League Mega Lex, which is the Ignite is the young prospects, right, that are coming in. You put them all on one team, and then you compete against the other G League team, which are basically the minor league or developmental teams for all of the NBA teams. So the Ignite is that like breeding ground. You could skip college, go straight to the G League, make some money, and train with the NBA personnel. So it's an interesting path. Who are some of the guys that have come out of the Ignite now?
Well, the highest profile guy is Jalen Green.
Jalen Green.
Yep.
Jonathan Kuminga, also a G League Ignite guy. Those were the 2 main guys that seem like they're going to be good players from the G League last year.
Yeah.
And this year, Beauchamp, Dyson Daniels, who's a projected lottery pick, a couple other guys maybe as well. But yeah, there's going to be like 3 or 4 guys every year, most likely.
So it is an interesting background when you just hear that background vote, 4 different high schools, and then going to the G League. Does that mean anything to you that it's this unconventional route? Also being 21 years old. So
yeah, he's pretty old. He's actually turning 22, like right when next season starts. So he's kind of old for this draft. I mean, MPJ is only 23. This guy is old.
I mean, it's just an interesting path. Like you talk about, Bones is a good example of a guy who's like, he had 2 years just at the college level at the same school, but very different years, and being with different teams, playing alongside different players, different things can be asked of you. So to jump around 4 times and then go to the next level, I mean, I'm sure that's hindering to some extent, I would imagine. But everything else Harrison said sounded awesome. So, plus the part where he's teammates with MPJ is actually enough.
Hell yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can get into this more unless you got something, D-Line.
I was just going to say, like, when you hear that 4 high schools in 4 years, that sounds like problematic. But then you consider the COVID. I mean, like the last like several years is like a little bit difficult to like grade anybody's path in anything on. But it is a little strong. But although that could just mean that he was just so clearly focused on getting to the NBA that he would make any leap that he could.
I actually think it's more common than you think. 4 maybe is a lot, but 2-3 high schools is actually super common for elite prospects because just the way that high school sports work, it's really, really weird. I mean, Will Barton, for example, had 4 high schools in 4 years. Some of that for him was personal family stuff, but a lot of it was also just, hey, the school has a great program and they're recruiting you or paying for your schooling for you to go to this better school.
But I do wonder, and I'm curious because I don't know. I'm just curious if anything at all is lost in that sort of like,
no question,
very American approach, right? Almost mercenary-esque even at the youth level. And it's like, are there different sort of lessons learned as a team sport athlete kind of coming back each year with some sort of common denominator in the group and building upon your role with that same team that last year. Just curious about it,
And it's the same in the G League, that there's less of it's not like you're a blue blood. We have that network of Kentucky people. It's like your G League. Like nobody has a G League pride to them. G League Ignite pride.
Yet.
Yeah.
Bull's the guy who went to 4 high schools in 4 years, and there were some questions about that turned out to be right. My kind of like one sentence takeaway from watching Beauchamp film: when he looks good, he looks really good. When he's bad, he looks really bad.
Perfect.
That sounds like a Nuggets bench player, baby.
Yeah. His strengths, it starts with his athleticism. I read off his measurables a second ago, but in transition, like this guy's a high flyer. He can get up and down the floor. He can soar for dunks, dunk on people. He's got a ton of bounce, powerful athlete who kind of floats through the air as well. It also seems like he's got some definite defensive upside, specifically on like the individual end. His length helps him on defense. He gives effort on that end, moves his feet really well laterally. He's got like a couple great closeouts on his film where he closes out from like the paint to the 3-point line and blocks a 3-pointer. So he can just cover a lot of ground defensively. And then his other big strength, I think, is the scoring upside. Like he will take some threes, some dribble pull-up threes, some 3-pointers coming around the screen. It's a perfect swish. It looks great. Like it looks like this is something he can do at the NBA level. He can get up into the dribble pull-up. He's confident taking those types of shots. Like I said, comfortable pulling up from the 3. Like when coming off a screen, if a defender goes under, he recognizes that pretty well. And that's probably a product of playing in the G League and more of an NBA type system. He's like recognizing NBA defenses already. So I think he's got upside as a scorer too, but like I said, and I'll get into it with the weaknesses, when he looks good, it looks like this guy could definitely score pretty efficiently at the NBA level, but when he looks bad, you kind of wonder about how efficient and effective he's going to be.
Yeah. Interesting. He's kind of some of the weaknesses that you say there, because I saw some people, I have the philosophy of sometimes these guys are old and it can be a positive thing. Like, oh, he's old, but he's more polished. And like, maybe that's what you need. Inconsistent shooting, ball handling, team defense. Those are things that generally the older you are, the more polished you should be. So the fact that you're unpolished in those areas and older, to me, that combination of things maybe is a little concerning for him.
Yeah. Yeah. The weakness is his shot. Sometimes it looks great, but he also has really bad misses, like air balls and just shots that barely hit the rim. He's got kind of a flat shot, so it bounces really hard off the rim when he misses as well. Open shots, he's not definitely not a knockdown guy. And passing, ball handling, feel for the game, it's okay. It's definitely not at the level where like elite prospects in this draft are. Some defensive concerns as well. He's also got this MPJ thing going in his ISO game. I wrote it in here as he MPJs his guy a lot, where he does a lot of moves, but then doesn't really get by him, but he can still just jump over the guy and rise up and hit a shot because he's that tall and that long.
Yeah.
The team defense. Okay. Please, Eric. Please.
I was going to say, I watched this guy. I got very clearly from him is Aaron Gordon. This guy looks a lot like Aaron Gordon to me. He is a dunker. He can shoot, can't shoot. Really depends on the day. Like almost all of his highlights were just him dunking. Like he seems like a slasher to me. He seems like a guy you don't want to rely on his shooting. Like his shooting and his ball handling are not great, but like he shouldn't be put in a position where that's what you are asking of him, like an Aaron. So to me, he's like rangy, and he looks explosive. And the defense is interesting to me. The team defense, I didn't see any breakdowns, but that's interesting to hear that, Harrison, that he's not necessarily on that level. But I saw Aaron Gordon. I saw like a little like Vlatko in him too. Like he's just like tall and like I mean it's just like only Nuggets players, right? But
those are
just like
such
he
two
just seemed like
different players, man.
I love
But
this.
they're
I saw Steve
fundamental, like,
Blackwood. He
big
looks
fundamental.
like a great teammate, just a really good teammate on the bench.
Listen, yeah, right. I mean, not Brandon. You'll agree that each of us is our own unique snowflake, right? No,
That's
no
right,
two
bud.
human beings are exactly the same. So he has a little of column A, a little of column Vlatko.
All right.
Like
The diagram.
I thought he's, yeah. I think to me this guy is interesting. I'm interested in him. Like, where is he slated currently to go in the draft, Harrison?
Probably in the 20s, probably outside the lottery, but still in that first round, probably in the later stages of the first round.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds
So
about
right
right.
around where the Nuggets are going to be picking. I mean, this is a guy who a lot of people on Twitter have been like, the Nuggets need Beauchamp. Like the Nuggets should really look at Marjon Beauchamp. So I thought he'd be a good guy to go over.
But the thing is like Aaron Gordon was a lottery pick. And when you have a lottery pick, you want them to become a superstar. No matter if they're like 8th pick or whatever. If Aaron Gordon was taken 21st and turned into what he was, like people would be like, man, this guy's incredible. Like Robert Covington. Oh my gosh. Because they were always slotted to be this and they became the best version of it. So Beauchamp being in the 20s might actually be good for him for what he is slated to become as an NBA player.
Yeah, for sure. So I think he's definitely a small forward. I think he's a 3. Definitely kind of profiles as that. Draft superlative, best name in the draft. I mean, he's got a great name. Come on, we know that.
He's the Beauchamp. Let's go.
Yeah. His fit with Jokic, not the best fit, I don't think. His passing needs some work. I don't know how high of an IQ guy he is. I don't know about his feel for the game, but the part about, the Nuggets and Jokic that could fit really well, his length could be a great addition. And I think he could become a good defender eventually. So not the perfect fit, but, not that guy that you look at and you're like, okay, this guy is, like the best fit possible. I think his game needs some work, but he's intriguing, I think.
All right. Are we intrigued? What do we go ahead vote? Where do we land on him?
Intrigued, not entirely sold. For me, the team defense weakness was most concerning because all the other stuff, the upside offensively, you live with it being potential, but not there yet. If he's this plug and play defensive guy you feel great about from day one, obviously the one-on-one defense is there, has the tools to be a great defender, but we're not talking about a 19-year-old, right? So when you say like still struggling with the team defense aspects, like that's something that's going to have to be learned at the next level. And so that just sort of takes away from the plug and play element of it. All of the, I don't know how I feel about him offensively. Well, if you just say, but he's a stud defender, then I'm sold. But the fact that there's some project elements as well on that side of it gives me a hang up.
What do you think, D-Line?
Dude, I'm in. I think he's interesting. Like, I think that there's something, like he's a big wing defender. He's got a lot of power. He looks like he is really adept at slashing. Like that's he has like a little Fareed in him that way, I feel like. But, he's obviously not the same player, but just another guy that like kind of gets the idea that his power comes at the rim. Like he shot like 68% I saw, and like every highlight was just him dunking. So, when you have a player like Jokic, it's valuable.
Yep.
Like, there'd be so many times in the year where like these fucking guys just to the rim. Like, what is going on here?
If he's able to read the game, he could get so many easy buckets off Nikola Jokic. So many.
Yeah, but I'm not sure he can read the game, and that's part of it.
Yeah, that's why I said if. Yeah.
So
the Beauchamp.
This is the Beauchamp. That's awesome. This is why I'm a little bit lukewarm on him. Like I wouldn't hate the pick, but it's not my preference. He's not like my type of guy, but he does possess some of the traits that you need. And then the question is just how close is he to being at the other parts of the game that you want? I don't mind that he's not like a great passer, great this or that. Like you need guys that are just workers, like Aaron Gordon's not, I mean, he has more skill than him, but he's not like super dynamic, and it works out because you need somebody that just doesn't touch the ball that much. He seems like a guy that maybe has been molded into that, but at the same time, I'm a little leery, especially going to be 22 years old. I'm a little leery of the idea of like, he doesn't have these great traits, these great skills. He just has good traits. I just don't know. So lukewarm, wouldn't hate it, but also don't really love it.
What I would be worried about is he's really throughout like his high school career and even in the G League, like he's been a go-to guy. You know, he's been a scorer. So I don't know how that would translate into an Aaron Gordon type of role.
Right,
That would be another
Yeah.
concern I have.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what position he plays at the next level.
Small forward.
Small forward. Like a true small forward, which I've noticed is like no longer a thing. You're either a combo guard or you're like more of a power forward, but we never.
It has more to do with how skinny you are than anything, man. To be honest with you, I feel like nowadays, like if you're Mikal Bridges, you like he could be a small forward, but if you're the same height, same mobility, but you're thicker, OG Anunoby, it's like he's more of a four.
More of a forward,
and it really is just the thickness. So he's skinny. He's skinny. He's rangy. So okay. Alrighty. Well, that does it. Marjon Beauchamp, our fourth prospect.
Beauchanimal, dude. Let's go.
Still pronouncing it just terribly.